Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Next question is, what is the best approach for a busy person to take time to start tantric study? If I had 30 minutes a day, what would be the best use of my time as a beginner?
Okay. So as a beginner in the tantric study is a huge subject. Tantra is much more than sex. Even though I understand you're asking about the sexual tantra here, like study and practice of the tantric sexuality. Just to everyone to know, the word tantra, the name tantra, has way more to do with than just sex. Sex is like a fifth, not less than 5% of all the tantras. The parts of yoga, such as hatha yoga, kundalini and laya yoga, the kriya yogas, the karma yoga, the bhakti yoga, the nidra yoga, the Kashmiri Shaivism yogas, these are all tantric forms of yoga. Not to mention then the system of Indian astrology, which, funny enough, people foolishly call Vedic astrology. The Indian astrology is tantric. It's a tantric astrology. It comes from the tantras, as does the studies of cosmogony, cosmology, the the science, or not the science, but the studies and the practices of invoking the divine archetypes, male and female gods and goddesses through mantras, yantras, mantra, yantra, tantra, and then uh, having communion with them and accomplishing spiritual states, paranormal powers, like the whole Mahavidya yoga. This is all a part of Tantra, and so much more. Systems of healing, systems of the science of sacred geometry, placement, architecture, the ancient classical music of India, as well as the ancient classical dancers. They are all under the umbrella of Tantra. And I just mentioned over the top of my head what I remember just now. There's more. And the sexuality, the sexual tantra, the sexual tantric yoga is just a little bit of all the tantras. So if you're asking, I'm a busy professional and I want to do tantric study and I have 30 minutes a day, it will take you lifetimes to go through all the tantras. I don't know who can go through all the tantras. But since you're asking specifically about the sexual tantra, now there are two things here. 30 minutes a day is good. If you do 30 minutes a day, that would be a minimum. And when you say the tantric study, that means two things. Tantric study means you first understand the theory of the tantric lovemaking, the motivations of it. You listen to the workshop that Teresa's offering you, and you study. In that workshop, for example, I'm speaking maybe 2 or 3 hours in each session. So you'll have to break it up. If all you got is half an hour, you'll have to break it up each session and do a 3 hour session in 6 days if you have only half an hour a day. But first, you have to understand the theory and the theory behind the practices and how to practice. And then you have to practice it. And then it's up to you. You want to make love. How often? Every day, every 2 days, every 3 days. And then you implement those practices. And so you can't really call love making an additional time of your day to study Tantra. I want to count that as like some kind of a study. You do your homework. You'll have to do certain practices like make the muscles in your pelvic area strong, contract them, squeeze them, relax them in the ways I've taught. And there are certain other practices like the Uddiyana Bandhas, the shoulder stands, the head stands. These will have to be done. But yes, one can make 10 minutes of contractions, 5 minutes of each of these yoga practices every day, and then use them, put them into effect in the lovemaking. 30 minutes a day would be the bare minimum. Remember, my dear people, this thing about splitting orgasm from ejaculation is a paranormal ability in the Indian tradition. Yeah, it's paranormal. It would come under the category of telepathy, clairvoyance, clairaudience,
Hmm.
things like this. Now you're saying, can I get telepathy practicing something half an hour a day? And the answer is yes, it's possible. It's going to take you a really long time. Plus, You have to not also remember it's not just about the time, it's also the lifestyle, right? The diet will matter, when you sleep and when you wake up will matter, what time of the day you practice will matter, whether you hold back your sexual energy or not will count a lot, right? So, my point is half an hour a day, it's doable. If you can do more, do more. You see?
Yeah, and a,
But
and a
you'll
flavor of
have to
tantra is
take,
amazing to start with.
hold on, you'll have to take time to do self practice, solo practice, touching yourself, going to that edging, going to the edge and then coming back, like edge and come back, relax a bit with the pleasure, going back to the edge and relax again, and then learn to surf on the edge longer and longer and longer, like I've taught in the workshop. So this takes time.
Exactly. And as I said, this is a very good workshop to start with. Therefore, we made it. So even if you have 30 minutes, you can definitely do.